What if I told you that President Trump just revealed that the new Iranian Supreme Leader is severely injured and may not even be inside Iran right now? That a report from 2 months ago claimed he was secretly flown to Russia on a military aircraft and is currently recovering at one of Vladimir Putin's personal residences. That the ceasefire between Israel and Iran nearly collapsed last night after Hezbollah attacked Israel and both sides started launching missiles at each other before Trump personally intervened and ordered everyone to stop shooting. And that President Trump just issued an explosive ultimatum saying that one way or another, with their permission or without it, the United States is going to take Iran's enriched uranium. And if they refuse to hand it over, they are going to get blown up. Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind. The situation in the Middle East just took a turn that nobody saw coming. For weeks, we have been told that a deal with Iran is close, days away, just around the corner. And then last night, the entire region nearly went up in flames when Hezbollah launched attacks against Israel, Israel bombed Beirut, Iran fired ballistic missiles, and Israel struck Tehran. In a matter of hours, the ceasefire that had been holding the region together was on life support. And then President Trump picked up the phone, told everybody to put down their weapons, and within 60 minutes, Iran announced it was halting military operations. One phone call, one command, one man standing between a full-scale regional war and a negotiated peace. But the real story is not just the ceasefire. The real story is what Trump revealed about the Iranian Supreme Leader, what it means for the power structure inside Iran, and the absolutely non-negotiable ultimatum he has issued regarding Iran's nuclear program. Because what the president said yesterday changes the entire calculation of this conflict. If you believe that the Iranian regime should never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon and that President Trump is the only leader on earth with the strength and the will to make sure that never happens, smash that like button right now. Every click sends a message that the American people stand behind their president as he stares down one of the most dangerous regimes on the planet. Because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what Trump revealed about the Iranian Supreme Leader's condition and location. Why a 2-month-old report about a secret flight to Russia suddenly looks incredibly credible. What happened last night when the ceasefire nearly collapsed, and how Trump single-handedly pulled the region back from the brink. What the naval blockade is doing to the Iranian economy, and why it is Trump's most powerful weapon, and what Trump's final ultimatum on Iran's nuclear dust means for the future of the Middle East. Now let me start with what President Trump said about the Iranian Supreme Leader, because this is one of the most extraordinary statements any American president has ever made about a foreign adversary. And when you hear the full context, you will understand why it changes everything. During an interview yesterday morning, President Trump was asked directly about the new Iranian Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. He was asked whether he knows where Khamenei is, and Trump's answer was not a simple yes or no. He said he did not want to say whether or not he knows where the Supreme Leader is, but that there is a good probability that he does. Think about what that means. The President of the United States just strongly implied that American intelligence knows the location of the Iranian Supreme Leader. He did not confirm it outright. He played it close to the vest, but the message was unmistakable. We know where you are. Then the interviewer asked a follow-up. Is the Supreme Leader even inside Iran right now? And Trump's response sent shockwaves. He said he would rather not say. He would rather not say whether the Supreme Leader of Iran is inside his own country. That is not a throwaway answer. That is a calculated statement designed to communicate something very specific to the Iranian regime and to the world. And then Trump revealed something even more stunning. He said the Supreme Leader is very seriously injured. He described him as pretty badly injured. He noted that there is a certain bravery in the fact that Khamenei is still communicating and giving orders despite his condition, saying that most people who were injured that badly would not be thinking about geopolitics. They would have other things on their mind. But Trump confirmed that Khamenei is alive, that he is hurt, and that he is still trying to lead what remains of his regime from wherever he is. Now let me connect this to a report that came out exactly 2 months ago, because at the time, this report was dismissed by many as unconfirmed. But after what Trump said yesterday, it suddenly looks very credible. 2 months ago, a Kuwaiti newspaper called Al Jarida published a report citing a source close to Iran's leadership. The report claimed that Mojtaba Khamenei was flown out of Iran on a Russian military aircraft after being injured during the strikes on Tehran on February 28th. According to the report, he underwent surgery in Moscow and has been recovering at a medical facility located on the grounds of one of Vladimir Putin's personal residences. The supreme leader of Iran, living with Putin, recovering under Russian protection, outside of his own country. At the time, nobody could confirm it. The report was noted and then forgotten as events continued to unfold. But yesterday, when President Trump was asked if the supreme leader is even inside Iran, and he said he would rather not comment on that, the Al Jarida report suddenly takes on an entirely different weight. If the supreme leader is not in Iran, if he is recovering in Russia under Putin's protection, that changes the entire dynamic of these negotiations. It means the Iranian regime is even weaker than we thought. Their leader is not just injured, he is potentially unable to return to his own country. He is dependent on Russia for his medical care and his physical safety. He is giving orders from a foreign country, trying to hold together a regime that has been devastated by military strikes and crushed by an economic blockade. That is not a position of strength. That is a position of desperation. And President Trump knows it. Now, let me tell you what happened last night. Because the ceasefire that has been holding the Middle East together nearly fell apart in a matter of hours. It started with Hezbollah. The Iranian-backed paramilitary force operating out of Lebanon launched attacks against Israel. Hezbollah has been one of Iran's most powerful proxy forces in the region for decades. They operate from southern Lebanon and Beirut, and they serve as Iran's forward military presence on Israel's northern border. Israel responded immediately. The Israeli Defense Forces launched bombing strikes against Hezbollah strongholds in Beirut. This was not a measured, proportional response. This was a significant military operation targeting Hezbollah infrastructure in Lebanon's capital city. The Iranian regime then escalated. In response to Israel's strikes on Hezbollah, Iran fired a series of ballistic missiles at Israel. Multiple waves, 4 ballistic missiles in the first wave, followed by 3 additional waves. Iranian missiles flying toward Israeli territory. Israeli civilians in the northern part of the country were sent to bomb shelters. Israel then struck back at Iran directly. Airstrikes against targets in Tehran. The Iranian capital being bombed in retaliation for the missile attack. In the span of a few hours, the ceasefire had effectively disintegrated. Both sides were shooting. Both sides were escalating, and the entire region was sliding toward a full-scale conflict that could have drawn in every major power in the Middle East. And then Donald Trump got involved. The president posted a statement that was as direct as anything he has ever written. Israel and Iran must immediately stop shooting. Not a suggestion, not a request, an order. From the most powerful man on earth to 2 nations that were actively firing missiles at each other. Trump also spoke with Fox News and delivered a message specifically to the Iranian regime. He said, and these are his words, "You have shot your missiles. That is enough. Get back to the table and make a deal." Within 1 hour of Trump's statement, Iran announced that it was halting its military operations against Israel. 1 hour, 60 minutes. That is how long it took for the President of the United States to stop a shooting war in the Middle East with nothing more than his word and the credibility behind it. Now let me explain why Trump has this kind of leverage. Because it is not just about military power. It is about the economic stranglehold that is slowly crushing the Iranian regime. The United States Navy currently has a full naval blockade in place around Iranian ports. This blockade is not symbolic. It is not partial. It is comprehensive, and it is devastating. Iranian exports are down 90%. They are currently extracting crude oil at 50% capacity, and the regime is losing hundreds of millions of dollars every single day. The Iranian economy is being bled dry. Their ability to generate revenue is collapsing. Their ability to fund proxy forces like Hezbollah is diminishing. Their ability to sustain military operations is eroding, and it is only going to get worse. Officials in the region have confirmed that the pressure from the blockade is increasing, not decreasing. This is Trump's most powerful weapon. Not missiles, not bombs, the blockade. Because the blockade does something that military strikes cannot. It creates sustained, compounding, inescapable economic pressure that gets worse with every passing day. A military strike causes damage that can be repaired. An economic blockade causes damage that accumulates. Every day the blockade remains in place, the Iranian regime gets weaker. Every day their oil stays in the ground, they lose money they will never recover. Every day their ports stay closed, their economy dies a little more. And Trump knows this. He has said explicitly that if we just maintain this pressure, if we keep building it day after day, it is only a matter of time before whatever is left of the Iranian regime cracks, crumbles, and capitulates. That is why he has been patient. That is why he has not launched a full-scale invasion. That is why he keeps pushing for a deal while simultaneously maintaining the blockade at full force. Because time is on his side. Every day that passes without a deal is a day that makes Iran weaker and America stronger at the negotiating table. Now, let me tell you about the ultimatum that Trump issued yesterday morning, because this is the most important statement he has made about Iran's nuclear program since taking office. Trump was asked directly whether he would send U.S. forces to retrieve Iran's nuclear stockpile, and his answer was extraordinary in its clarity and its finality. He explained that the enriched uranium, which he calls nuclear dust, is the #1 objective. Getting that material out of Iran is non-negotiable. It is the centerpiece of any deal. And he laid out exactly 2 paths for how it happened. Path 1, the good cop path, the nice way. The United States and Iran reach a deal. The relationship becomes friendly. American equipment and personnel go into Iran with Iranian cooperation. They locate the enriched uranium. They extract it. They destroy it, either on-site or off-site. And they conduct radioisotope analysis to determine where the material came from in the first place, which is an entirely different and potentially explosive conversation. Path 2, the bad cop path, the hard way. If Iran refuses to make a deal, if they refuse to hand over the nuclear dust, then the United States takes them out militarily. Trump used the word harshly, very harshly. And after the military operation is complete, after whatever is left of the Iranian military infrastructure has been destroyed, American forces go in anyway and take the uranium by force. Either way, the outcome is the same. The nuclear dust leaves Iran. The only question is whether it leaves through cooperation or through the rubble of a military strike. Those are the 2 options. There is no third option. There is no path where Iran keeps its enriched uranium. That door is closed, permanently. And Trump went even further. He revealed that the negotiations have hit a specific sticking point that tells you everything about how carefully his team is approaching this deal. The Iranians had agreed to a clause stating that they will not develop nuclear weapons. Most negotiators would have called that a win and moved on. Trump did not. He caught something that everyone else missed. He pointed out that a clause prohibiting the development of nuclear weapons does not prohibit the purchase or acquisition of nuclear weapons. Iran could sign a deal promising never to build a bomb and then turn around and buy one from China or North Korea or anyone else willing to sell. The word develop does not cover the word acquire. It does not cover buy. It does not cover receive as a gift. So Trump demanded that the language be expanded, not just develop. Develop or purchase or acquire or buy. Every possible avenue for obtaining a nuclear weapon closed. Every loophole sealed. Every creative interpretation blocked. That is the kind of detail that separates a real deal from a piece of paper that means nothing. And it is the kind of detail that only a man who wrote The Art of the Deal would catch. The Iranians initially pushed back on the expanded language. Then they conceded. They accepted the broader prohibition, which tells you that even they understand the leverage has shifted so dramatically that they cannot afford to walk away from the table over contract language. Now, here is where things stand right now. This morning, President Trump posted that both sides, Israel and Iran, are looking to do an immediate ceasefire. The peace negotiations are proceeding. He said things should move quickly. And critically, he confirmed that the naval blockade will remain in place and in full force until a final deal has been reached. Not until a ceasefire is established. Not until negotiations begin. Until a final deal is signed. That means the economic pressure does not let up. Not for one day. Not for 1 hour. The blockade stays until Trump has everything he wants. The nuclear dust. The prohibition on developing, purchasing, or acquiring nuclear weapons. The complete denuclearization of the Iranian regime. All of it. Signed, sealed, and delivered. And if you are wondering why the deal keeps getting pushed back, why we keep hearing that it is days away only to see another delay, Trump explained that too. The deal is very close. The broad strokes are agreed upon, but the details matter. The fine print matters. You do not sign a nuclear agreement with a hostile regime and leave loopholes that they can exploit in 5 years. You read every word. You challenge every clause. You close every gap. And if that takes an extra week, it takes an extra week. Better to get it right than to get it fast. The Iranian regime is cornered. Their leader is severely injured and may be hiding in Russia. Their economy is being strangled by a naval blockade that is getting tighter every day. Their exports have collapsed by 90%. Their proxy forces are being bombed. Their capital has been struck. And the President of the United States has told them in plain language that they can hand over their nuclear material willingly, or he will take it by force after destroying whatever stands in his way. Those are not the conditions of a negotiation between equals. Those are the conditions of a surrender. And whether the Iranians sign a piece of paper or whether they force Trump's hand, the outcome is the same. The nuclear dust comes out of Iran. The weapons program ends, and the most dangerous nuclear threat in the Middle East is eliminated. One way or another, nice way or the hard way, with their permission or without it. That is the deal. That is the ultimatum. And that is the promise of a president who does not bluff. Don't stop here. The Middle East situation is evolving by the hour, and a final deal with Iran could be announced any day now. Click on the next video as we continue to cover every development in President Trump's historic campaign to denuclearize the Iranian regime and secure peace across the entire Middle East.